In a world where two short-term rental bros come together.
What?
Not in that way, bro. There's a podcast of truly epic proportions where we talk about all things short-term rental and shoot the shit along the way. Welcome to the Co-Host Bros Podcast. Here are your hosts, Matt Codd and Austin Spitz.
All right, everybody. Thank you, and welcome to another episode of the Co-Host Bros Podcast. My name is Matt Codd. I'm here with Austin Spitz. We have a special guest today, author of the book Direct Playbook, owner of Boostly, Mark Simpson. What's going on, Mr. Simpson?
Thank you very much for having me. Am I the first British guest on the show?
Yeah, we're going to have to translate, but it'll be okay.
There you go. Yeah, we'll have some captions up or something. I'm sure there'll be something flying around. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So, I mean, I know there's a lot going on with you. I see you sold 150,000 copies of the book Direct Playbook, or the book Blueprint or Playbook, I'm sorry.
The Playbook, yeah, the first one. So the first one, yeah, massive milestone, which is crazy. Like when you put a book together, you like to think something sells, but to pass that milestone is pretty cool. So I got a nice little box of books from the publishers dropped off. They sent it to our door, and I was just like, right, I might as well give them away. So I'm currently running a giveaway. By the time this comes out, it may be over, but yeah, currently giving away 50 books, which is cool. So yeah, it's massive. You know, that book changed my life and obviously Boostly's trajectory. It was like one of those hockey stick sort of moments massively back in 2022.
Yeah, I think Matt at your meetup. You were like giving them out or something, right? Like in the Houston meetup or something?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because my son read it. He wants Mark to sign it, so I'll get that in July. But yeah, I had a couple extra copies that I gave him out at the first meetup.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it's funny. I see it now, like 3 years on. It's like a really cool business card, right? When you go to an event or a conference or whatever, it's cool to it's like as effective as giving out a business card at an event, and then like seeing like pictures of it around the world and stuff is cool. And I get messages all the time on Instagram. It's the thing I didn't realize. I get messages on Instagram saying, "Hey, I'm reading your book," doing the homework. People that I've never chatted to before. So it's cool.
So would you think like that's a good like lead generation thing for you as well? Like people that read your book kind of feeds into your business, you think? Like, I guess my question is, like, what percentage of that book has kind of helped you grow your business, you think, overall?
So to answer the first question, total transparency, yes, that's why I did it. I practice what I preach. And when I speak to hosts and I speak to business owners, I say, you've got to get your business everywhere. We call it the billboard effect. And, I was just looking around the internet at where else I could have Boostly. And I was like, there's one huge resource that I am nowhere near, and that's Amazon. So I was like, well, how do you get on Amazon? Well, doing a book is probably one of the easiest things to do. And so by being on Amazon now, again, it's another marketing sales revenue where people can buy it and then find out more. And obviously, when you put a book out, and if someone is going to read all 300 pages, they are very invested by the time that they finish. They feel like they know you, or they find out more. It's like a podcast. It's why we've done nearly 800 podcasts, is because of having another marketing sort of generator for the business. Is why we do YouTube and all those things. And how many, the second question is like, how many people now come to us from the book? It's hard to quantify, but I know that a lot of people either start the funnel or start their journey with the book, or they'll maybe start by listening to me on a guest episode like now, or coming across like the podcast, and then they'll delve onto the book on the back of it. Like, oh, what's that guy? He's got a weird accent. Let's go find out more about him. And that's basically how that sort of transpires.
So one question I just thought about randomly while you're talking. I think it was like maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. Was it like there was something with like Will Smith smacking somebody on the stage, and was that you that smacked somebody on the stage at the Wealth Conference or something? And it was like something about Airbnb, keep the Airbnb out of your mouth. Or something.
So
I
I
just
was
randomly
literally
remembered that. I was
looking at,
like, huh?
yeah. So I was literally looking at that reel the other day. So I'll give you the story behind that. So this is 2023, and the year before was the first ever STR WealthCon, 2022. I got invited super last minute. And the only reason I got invited is because of Clubhouse. So I started doing these Clubhouse rooms, which were 24-hour Clubhouse rooms back in the day of a good old Clubhouse. And obviously I wasn't going to be online for 24 hours. So I reached out to some people that I knew in Australia, in the US, who could and we got a little timetable going. Because the way that I knew that Clubhouse worked, the longer that a room was open, the more awareness it would get. And that room broke like Airbnb Clubhouse records, where you got so many people in it. And because it was always open and because it was my name on the door, I woke up one morning, I was living in Spain at the time, and I had all these Instagram followers that I never had before. And part of those followers was Mr. Bill Faith, Mr. Mike Sjogren. And we all just sort of kept in touch. We all started these WhatsApp groups up and we all kept in contact. And that first ever STR Wealth was pretty much like a Clubhouse meetup in real life. I got invited last minute and they shot me on last. I got to close it all out. And, going to Nashville in 2022, 90% of the 1,000 people there didn't have a clue who I was. I could walk around the whole week, chat to people. No one really knew who I were. We obviously spotted an accent, but that's pretty much it. As soon as I got off stage, it was a total opposite of it. Everybody was like, what was that? That was crazy. I was doing shots on stage and all of the things, because I like to do things like infotainment. I don't like to be a normal, standard, boring presentation. I want people to remember it, because what I know to be true of events and conferences, podcasts, or anything is no one remembers what you tell them, but everybody remembers how you made them feel. So I take that into when I speak on stage. And so fast forward to 2023, which is what we're talking about. It was a couple of months after, or a couple of weeks after, when Chris Rock got slapped by Will Smith at the Oscars. And I was invited back to speak at STR Wealth, and we were on last. And Bill didn't trust me to go on stage by myself, obviously. So he was like, right, I'm going on stage with you. And typical Bill style, give me no prep at all. We didn't meet, we didn't arrange anything. And we're going on in front of 1,000 people. In my head, I was planning all this stuff in my head about how we could make this talk as cool as possible. And basically we got to the green room before we went on, and I said, I've got an idea. I was like, yeah, we're not doing any of that. we're gonna do this. And I was like, shit. And I was really deflated. And then Will was next to me, Will Slickers. He was the MC. And I was just sort of thinking, well, what can I do? Because I want to do something. And I said, Will, I've got an idea. And he was a sport. He was well up for it. I gave him no prep. We had no practice. I said, listen, just stand in my eye shot off stage. I'm going to say these words. When Bill introduces me, I'm going to say, yeah, thanks, Bill. I'm the guy that Airbnb don't want you to know about. And when I say those words, you're going to come on stage and you're going to pretend to slap me. And then we're going to do the Will Smith sort of thing. And I said, as soon as you slap me, say, keep my Airbnb out your fucking mouth, and shout it really loud. And, it could have gone horribly wrong, but it went absolutely amazing. And I had a camera guy behind the stage filming the behind the scenes bit of it. And he caught it so well. And I was like, that's a clip, that's a reel, that's a shot right there. We put it online, and it went mega viral. Loads of people saw it. So again, not many people, nobody remembers what I said in that set with Bill, because again, but everybody remembers that moment because the infotainment, the comedy aspect of it.
Were you nervous executing the slap before it happened? Were you a little bit nervous, or you're like, nah, I've got it?
You know what? It's weird. This is something that I keep thinking about, because when I go on stage, right that moment before you go and speak, I am so nervous, right? And when you get on stage, I don't know if everybody has this, but you just get in the flow. I don't know what it is. You don't even think. And I was just going with the flow, wasn't even thinking, and it just happened perfectly. But yeah, beforehand, every talk that I do, I'm so super nervous getting up in front of people. But yeah, it's weird. As soon as you get out there, it's like you have an out of body moment. It's just you just go into automatic. You just crack on.
Yeah, so I've been to I think all of the conferences. Maybe I missed one, I don't know. But I do have to give you credit. That probably was the most memorable moment because as soon as you
No,
started
thank you.
talking, that was what came to my head. I was like, the light bulb went off. I was like, I remember this.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think it helps because I've got this accent, right? And they don't have any other, apart from Julie George being Australian, there's not many other foreign accents at these events. So it definitely helps coming over with an accent. Number one, you stand out like a sore thumb. But like the second thing is, again, I try and sort of have this infotainment style, which has definitely worked, you know?
I think you're always doing something creative because last year I saw your face on urinals and on bathroom doors and
Yeah,
everywhere else. I don't know how many stickers you passed out, but I
yeah.
saw your head everywhere.
So that's
Um,
another thing that I do. So again, I love guerrilla marketing tactics. So I thought, well, how can I get in many places as possible at this event? And I was thinking, well, when do people mostly look at their phones? And it's like when you go to the bathroom, you sit down, right? Because instantly the first thing you do is you get a phone out. Or in the female bathrooms, you know, it's where they congregate around the sinks and have a natter and a chat, or they're drying their hands, right? So what I did was, just as the event was starting, and bearing in mind, I've tried this at Bigger Pockets Conference, I've tried this at Verma, I've tried this at all the big events. The bigger event, it gets harder because they've got a lot of cleaning crews. In the saloon in Nashville, super easy because no one cleans those bathrooms. So what I do is I go into the urinals and I sticker them on all the back of the toilets and restrooms, and then I go put them next to the hand dryers. And then I obviously don't go in the female restrooms. I have somebody do it for me. I beg somebody to do it for me, and I bring plenty with me. And what it is there's the sticker with my face on, the tagline, the guy that Airbnb don't want to know about, or there's another version which is, do you want to flush Airbnb down the toilet? And there's a QR code. You scan the QR code, it goes to my link tree, and on there you can do all of the things. But the amount of people that take pictures of that, put it on their social medias, and then that gets shared and shared again, it just brings awareness back.
yeah, I saw people tagging you and everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty clever. I mean, my wife gets mad. She's like, "Why do you put a sticker on your car?" And I'm like, "Because it goes everywhere with me."
100% branding, man.
Yeah,
The billboard effect.
right. So I actually want to go back. Like, I want to go back to what started Boostly, what started you on this journey of you writing books, and you have a new thing too as well. I was reading about the other day. But what started you on all this? Like, what happened?
Yeah, so I'm one of these rare breeds that was born into this industry of hospitality. I grew up in a bed and breakfast in the United Kingdom. It was a 200-acre farm stay property, and it had 14 bedrooms, and then later had 3 holiday cottages. So I was just used to growing up with having strangers in my house every day. Tried my best for 20 years to escape. Tried to play football, soccer, but I'm not very good. Crap at playing it, so I ended up coaching it. Managed to escape in 2002 to America for like 7 years. Got my H1 visa, so which meant I could stay in America for 6 months, come back to the UK for 6 months. Did that. Had an amazing time coaching, living in America, doing all that cool stuff. And then finally got suckered back into hospitality. Came back to the family business, and me and my wife and my eldest, we pretty much moved into the business to help retire my parents. Got involved with that, loved it, hard hours, long hours, but thoroughly enjoyable. And then in 2016 I read this book by Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Workweek. Very popular book. And I don't know what it's like where you grew up, but where I grew up in Yorkshire in the United Kingdom, everybody wears that busy badge with pride, as in like we do everything ourselves. We don't ask for help. We definitely don't outsource. We definitely don't hire virtual assistants. So when I read this book, it was like this massive aha moment. And I was like, whoa, I can like hire people in the Philippines for like, $5 an hour. And I can actually stop doing all of this manual stuff that I'm doing. And it was like, wow. I went to my parents and I'm like, nope. Managed to persuade them. So I pretty much sacked myself from the family business. And when I did that, started to go to networking events in the local area. And they were other hospitality owners, whether they were like vacation rental owners or bed and breakfast or hotel owners. And they would meet every 3 months. And it was at these meetings, you know, it's a catch up and a chin wag. But one of the meetings was a discussion on marketing. And I was amazed. You know, like when you're busy working in your business, you feel that everybody knows what you know. But at this meeting for marketing, I was like amazed that nobody had ever sent an email. Nobody had ever done a social media post. And people were like really disappointed with the guests and the control that they thought that the OTAs, Booking.com and Expedia, and then obviously Airbnb had on their business. And so I just naively said, well, what are you doing? Like we're 80% direct bookings. Like, what are you doing to like market your business? And they just looked at me with a blank expression. So, you know, the old brain clog started to go and the light bulb moment sort of happened. And I said, well, if I start a Facebook group called the Hospitality Community, and I'll just share on there like daily bits and advice, would you join? And, you know, a couple of people joined and it went down well. And then a few more people joined. And before I knew it, we had people knocking on the door and requesting to join from other parts of England, which I thought was really weird because it was set up for just my little tiny area of the United Kingdom. And then we had like people from Scotland try to join, and Wales, and, you know, then people in Europe and Australia and America. And before I knew it, was 1,000 people in that group. And I was just showing up every day. This is like 2016. So this is when Facebook groups was so visible on that app. And I got to a point where I was answering more questions from hosts than I was our guests. And I was like, you know, this is madness. I'm doing this for free. So what I did is I created a course. I basically just recorded myself doing all of these things for the family business and put it on Thinkific, which was like a coaching platform at the time. And I put a post in that group saying, right, I need 5 guinea pigs. I think this will work. If you want it, it's like $100. And those are the first 5 people that ever sort of came into the Boostly world. And then it just sort of evolved and expanded and sort of pivoted from there to the point where now we predominantly do the coaching aspect still, but we also do website design. We've got CRMs, we do all of the things, and we've got just a shy of 1,000 customers now, powering 10,000 listings. And last year we did $100 million in direct booking. So been like a mad 8 coming up 9 years.
You know, it's, first of all, $100 million is a massive number. And I agree with what you say, because a lot of people, business owners and entrepreneurs, they don't really focus on marketing themselves or marketing their businesses or their brand. And I don't think they understand sometimes how important it is, even though it takes a lot of time to learn, you know, a lot of things. But some things you could pick up quickly, or some things are a little bit easier. And I just think they just don't focus on that kind of stuff. But since you know, your main focus is building direct booking websites, let's just say, for instance, one of our listeners has a direct booking website, and let's just say it's in Charlotte, West Virginia. What would be some good tips for them to increase the SEO traffic and then traffic on their website, you know, from an organic standpoint?
Yeah. So let's just take the context that this website is, let's just say it's a free one from a PMS, right? It doesn't need to be WordPress Wix, which is the majority of the times what I see. And coming back to your earlier point, it amazes me how many people come or fall into hospitality, and whatever career they've come from, and say that they've had a business in, say, PT, a gym, right? And in another career, there isn't the luxury of having online travel agents that have just got millions and millions of views, and you can pretty much, depending on your location, your market, etc., put your business, fresh business, on one of these sites and be pretty much guaranteed to get revenue. That's what we have with the hospitality industry, right? And people come into this industry and say they've had a business before where they market and sell and they promote themselves for all of the things. As soon as they come into this, they go, I don't need to do all of that. I'm good. I'll just put it on there and I'll be generated to get bookings. And it's amazing the amount of people that do. And even obviously like co-hosts, right? You still market and promote your business to get homeowners, to get these management properties, right? But when it comes to actually marketing the business, getting guests, heads on beds, it is outstanding to me, the amount of people who just go, I'll just put it on Airbnb. I'm fine. I'm sound.
Yeah, only too. They won't even put on anything else, just Airbnb.
Yeah, I mean, that tide is changing. Like the stats have shown, AirDNA have proved this. Other surveys have proven this. Now more hosts are going multi-channel more than ever. The amount of market share that Booking.com in America has gained in the last 3 to 6 months is outstanding. Pretty much because Booking.com is shite and the back end of it is so confusing.
Terrible.
And so many people complain about it, but yet it has grown faster in America than Airbnb in the last 6 months, which is crazy, which points to me that hosts who are predominantly on Booking.com, and when we say hosts, I'm talking like people who've got one property up to like 20, 30 properties. Over 20, 30 properties, I'd say that you are like a professional company, right? And so it's the hosts that are finally going, I'm not just going to be on Airbnb because the market has changed. It's no longer just a place that I can be reactive. I've got to be proactive, but I'm also going to get myself a property management software tool, PMS as they're otherwise called, and I'm also going to get myself listed on all these channels, which is crazy. So, but going back to the point of the website. So you've got a website. It's a PMS one, right? And you want to get traffic to it because that's the whole point of having a website. So some of the more key things that you can do before you even go down the route of SEO, because in my opinion, SEO is a medium to long-term play. As in, just because you're going to write a blog on your website doesn't mean that blog is going to generate hundreds of thousands of views and you're going to get all these bookings. You put content together on your website, especially a blog, because what you want to do is you want to build up an enough content that the Googles of the world, the Bings of the world will recognize it when certain search terms are put in. Now, that doesn't mean that if you write a blog now or you do a good website with strong SEO now, if someone comes and types in vacation rentals in Colorado or vacation rentals in West Virginia, you're going to come up, because I'm sorry, but Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia, TripAdvisor, and all these gargantuan companies that spend millions in SEO and thingy, they're going to come up above you. But you do SEO in the long term. So when somebody puts in that niche search, that you pop up. So for an example, there's a client of ours who wrote an article on their website, a blog on their website about discounted coupon codes for a specific theme park that was a stone throw away from where their vacation rentals properties are. Now, when you Googled coupon codes for insert name of theme park in where the town was, after the official website, her tiny little website came up second because of the nicheness of that article, the nicheness of the post. And she said to me, listen, we get so many people book with us who are coming to visit the theme park or after coupon codes, right? So SEO is definitely a medium to long-term play. The quicker way, because everybody wants quick wins, right? The quicker way to get traffic to your site is A, get your phone out. And this is what I spoke about on stage in Nashville, going back to the event. Get your phone out, go into your contacts, right? And every single one of you has got friends, family, co-workers, people in your phone, right? Whether it's friends from the school run, people in your local sports team, just contacts, liaisons, whatever. You've got 100 people who know you, like you, love you, trust you, right? The easiest thing to do is message every single one of the people, 100 people in your contacts, and go, do you know anyone who is looking for a place to stay in what X, wherever your town is? Send that 100 times. And, you'll send it to 100 people, right? You may get people message you back saying, oh, nice one. No. You might have people saying, oh, no, but I'll bear that in mind. Or there'll be some golden nuggets that'll message you back saying, yeah, actually my sister's coming to town for the holidays, or I've got friends coming in for the summer. They're looking for a place to stay. And then you'll go, brilliant. Here's the website. If get them to mention you when they do the booking. And if anybody books, I'll sort you out with a bottle of wine, can of beer, packet of beer, sports tickets, whatever, right? Because that little cost that you will give to them to dangle the carrot to do it is equivalent to what you're paying commission to Airbnb, Booker.com, etc. But you're dangling the carrot to help them do it. That is a phenomenally simple way that anybody can do that's quick wins, that you can drive traffic to your website by just messaging people. And then obviously the second one social media. You go posting on social media, go join all these groups, these Facebook groups. There's a Facebook group for every niche out there that you can possibly imagine. Join those groups, look at those groups, don't spam those groups, but wait for the opportunity to drop in your domain. And again, that's how you get traffic to it. And that's just 2 tips.
So I'm a total noob in regards to SEO stuff. So when you're saying you're sending out all these messages and then you're sharing in comments and every chance you get essentially is you're putting your link out to your site. So all of these additional clicks essentially feed the algorithm. Is that am I getting that correctly to where you're showing up more visible because of those clicks are kind of rewarding you? Does that make sense or is that not how it works?
No, you're definitely going down the right route. Obviously, the more times people visit your website, Google is going to, or Bing, or any search engine is gonna like that. You know, that if you can get someone to hang around on your website for a long time, even better. So that's what's called sticky or mousetrap, as I like to call it. But you know, just because you're going to send 100 people to your site doesn't mean that Google are instantly going to go, that's the one top of the ranking. It's more that you're just driving people to your website, showing them that you are a business. Because again, you've got 100 people in your phone, right? You've got friends. I mean, I've got friends that I've known since I was 3 years old, right? They haven't got a clue what I do. Right? They say, I did something with websites, right? You got to remind people, right? You got to remind people of what you do and to spread the word. There's a chapter in the book, and the book that you mentioned, the Book Direct Playbook, is right behind me here. There's 101 tips in that book. One of the ones that we talk about is becoming the go-to. So, you know, if I was to ask any of you, like, who in your area is like, would you recommend for, I don't know, like Mexican food, or who's the plumber, who's the handyman? There's always somebody that comes to mind, right? He is your go-to guy or gal, right? Now, your role as a business owner is to become the go-to in your niche or your town or your location. Now, when I started Boostly and when Boostly properly started to get traction, especially with Clubhouse and then obviously speaking at STI Wealth, I was like, Airbnb have dominated the term for short-term rentals. Nobody walks around saying, I'm staying in a Verbo. Nobody walks around saying, I'm staying in a booking.com, but everybody walks around going, I'm staying in an Airbnb, right? I can't do anything about that, right? I can try. I can try calling people out for it, but at the end of the day, the battle's lost. But what can I do with direct bookings? So when somebody mentions direct bookings, are they instantly going to think about Boostly? So how do I get myself in that position to when anybody thinks of book direct or direct bookings, they instantly think of Boostly and Mark Simpson? And that is what I have been doing for literally the last 4 or 5 years. So you could argue to the point now, and I tested it with AI, and I know we're going to chat about AI. I went onto ChatGPT, I went onto Cloud, I went onto Gemini, I went onto Perplexity, every model that you could ask. And I said, who is the go-to direct booking exit in the Airbnb world? And guess who come up? It was Boostly, it was Mark Simpson. So that's the trick for everybody to do. And that's why you continue to do that trick, is to become known as the go-to for X in X. So the go-to management company, the go-to co-host, the go-to place to stay in X.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think I didn't need AI to tell me. I think like when most people think of direct booking, you're kind of the face that comes up. So for sure, I agree with that. I also agree with the fact that you're saying like Airbnb as a reference to the industry. Like we're getting an Airbnb, and it's a funny thing in society. Like when I tell people what we do high-end luxury property management for vacation rentals or short-term rentals. And when you mention short-term rentals, unless you're in the space or the industry, people don't know what that means. So it's like you embarrassingly kind of have to go back and just be like, I do Airbnbs.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, brands have that effect. Like you ask for a clean easy, right? You get a can of Coke, you know, you go and you're going to get an Uber, right? It's just, it is what it is. And
Yeah.
it's the ones that can do their job the best is the ones that they go to. And that, again, it comes back to the billboard effect, right? It's why, you know, washing detergents, right? These companies spend so much money, time, and effort doing newspaper ads, billboard ads, TV ads, radio ads, coupon codes, newspapers, all of the things that you can possibly imagine. So when you walk into Walmart or when you walk into Costco and you've got all of that choice in front of you, that is the brand that they go to because they know, like, and trust and recognize it. And it's just the same thing. You just do it in a small business. And like you say, that's all that I've been doing. And then I practice what I preach. I try and show hosts and companies how they can do it at a smaller level as well.
What up, what up, what up, my fellow co-hosts, bros and gals? This is Matt here from the Co-host Bros podcast. Look, STRIQ is insane. It's like Zillow property finding. I use this for comparables to show my owners. I create a comp set. I'm like, here, this is what it is. This is how I can help you. This is what I could do. But look, here's the deal. I talked to Matt Sanderson. We had a couple conversations, and I was able to get some stuff for you guys. I was able to lock it in. So first, I locked in a 7-day free trial. Any plan you sign up for, automatically 7-day free trial. Cancel anytime. Second, you want to go monthly because you don't want to pay for a year or for a quarter. Cool. Use Co-host Bros 10. I got you 10% off of that monthly subscription. But wait, if you want to go quarterly, I got you 15% off of that. So use Co-host Bros 15 if you want to use a quarterly subscription. If you want to go annual, first of all, the most biggest bang for your buck, cheapest monthly. Plus, I got you 20% off. Co-host Bros 20. And once again, don't forget there's a 7-day free trial and it's going to blow your mind. So why not start today? All right, back to the show.
Yeah, I was actually literally just having this conversation with somebody today about the whole Airbnb short-term rental thing. And he was like, yeah, that's weird. He's like, I don't know a lot of things that do that. I said, what do you talk about? You go buy Motrin, it's Advil, it's, no matter what you like, it's always something. And sometimes, Austin, when you tell people short-term rentals, they'll look at you and they'll be like, Airbnbs? And you're like, no, VRBOs, but yeah, God, that's great. So can you break down the billboard method you keep talking about so everybody kind of understands what you're talking about from a lower level? Because if they wanted to, get started on their brand and try to put it kind of everywhere for them to get, co-host deals or whatever the case may be, selling an application, things like that.
So I think the easiest way to look at it is where on the internet can you put your business so that it is literally everywhere? And there's an even simpler trick to this. And again, it's in the book. There's a chapter in there. And the first thing you have to do, number one, is figure out who your ideal client is. And, obviously, if you're a co-host, you're going to have two. You're going to have homeowners who can find your service, so if it can give you their home, so you can host it, co-host it, etc. And then the other one is the guest, right? So let's just park it at the guest for this first and foremost. You've got to identify who is your ideal avatar, who's your ideal guest, your guest profile. Basically, who do you want walking through your door, right? And there's a couple of ways to decipher that. So number one, who is coming to your area? Who is coming to your town, okay? And then it's where are they hanging out? And then finally, it's what is your property ideal for? Or who is your property ideal for? So an example could be, I've got a property right on the beach, okay? People come to my area to surf, right? I'm on the beach. What does my property appeal? So what's some of the main things about it? It could be that it's literally a stone throw from the beach. It's got surf racks, all those sort of things, right? So once I figure out who my ideal guest is, then what I do is I go and try and find where they are on the internet, right? And there's a couple of really cool hacks to this if you haven't got a clue. So number one, Google search. You basically do 40 Google searches just around the topic. So ideal places to stay for surfers coming to whatever. It could be vacation rentals in. You can start it very generic and then go super niche. Every time you do that search, you're going to look at what the first page of Google brings you. And then you just do a gate system. So it could be top of the shot, could be booking.com, Airbnb, Expedia, because they've got the ad spot, will be SEO spots, and just make a note of everything that you see. You do that 40 times. And what you'll find is that you'll have the usual suspects, but you'll also find niche OTAs. So niche online travel agencies as well, niche listing sites. And if out of 40 searches, if they're coming up, 10 times, and that's where you should be putting your business. So basically billboard effect is putting your business everywhere in front of where your ideal guest is hanging out online. Okay. Number one. The second element of it as well is to do the same, but on Facebook groups. So go into Facebook groups. Facebook groups is where online communities are. Go and find like 5 to 10 groups matching around your niche or your location. And I guarantee you there'll be Facebook groups for every location around the world with niches. You go and check, you'll find them, no problem, no drama. Again, go and join those groups. And all you're going to do with those groups, 5 to 10 minutes a day, max. Pick your top 3 out of those 5 or 10. Save them as a favorite, save them as a bookmark, save them on your phone, and just spend 5 to 10 minutes going in there every single day. And you're not going to actively be selling and promoting, but what you're going to do is you're going to be actively trying to help. There's a book by Gary Vee, I think it's called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And the whole principle is you give, and then you take. So you give advice, help people. If people have got a question, you answer it. You don't even try and sell your business in any way, shape, or form. And then when this one post will happen, okay, this is a thing about becoming the go-to as well, is that someone will come into that group and they'll go, hey, I'm coming to this area. I'm looking to surf. I'm looking for a spot on the beach. Who do you recommend? And that is when you do the right hook. And if you don't do the right hook, what you'll find is because you've gone into these groups and given so much help, advice, guidance, they will right hook for you and they'll give you a shout out. So again, that is, you've got your first one with Google search, you've got your second one with Facebook groups, and then you just keep rinse, repeating, and you just try and find as many areas as possible that you can do that methodology.
Yeah, I see a lot of people right hooking you when they talk about direct bookings. So,
well, I still do it to this day. Right, that whole thing of becoming the go-to, you'll see me pop up in groups. I've got like 5 to 10 groups. I still go into it this day, and I'm very fortunate of doing this for nine years now. I don't need to do it as much because people discover Boostly through all of the things that we've done on like a mass scale. But I still do it to this day, not to the same level that I used to, but I still pop into groups, still give help and guidance, and then over time I'll go into a group and I'll see there's been a post of somebody who says, who do you recommend that builds websites for our short-term rental company? And I guarantee it in the comments, without me even putting my name down, someone will have mentioned Boostly. Not every time, but a lot of the times. Some people are saying, yeah, go Boostly. Some people are saying, fuck Boostly. But at least the name's getting mentioned. And that happens. That when you get bigger to the scale that we are, it's always going to happen. You're going to have people that absolutely love us. You get people that hate us, and you get people in the middle. And that's just new levels, new devils.
So I haven't read that book, but I completely agree with that concept, and I just subconsciously do that because I know that's how it works. But it seems like you maybe did a whole bunch of jabs, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, and you're jabbing all the time. That now it's caught up to where it's like right hook, like you don't have to help as much, but you're still willing to. But that funnel is kind of just like, hey, you did it all in the beginning, and now it's like coming back to full circle, right?
Yeah, 110%. Like, yeah, I can't remember who it was. It was definitely must have been on a Tim Ferriss podcast because I was just obsessed with that guy back in the day. And they were just saying that you want to build up a binge bank worth of content so that where somebody discovers you, because it's all about funnels, right? Marketing funnels, sales funnels, whatever you want to call it. And you've got the top of funnel. And people will discover me through maybe a meme that I put online or that clip that we talked about at Nashville or going on a podcast or whatever. And they go, oh, that's interesting. I want to find out more. And then they'll run a Google search, Mark Simpson, Boostly or whatever. And then it doesn't matter where they hit, whether it's a podcast, whether they're like audio, whether it's video, whether they're like YouTube or the books, whether they're like written word, you're going to find me. And there's loads of ways that you can get, indoctrinated with as much content as possible. And they call it like the 7 touch points. You got to have 7 touch points from somebody discovering you before they become a customer, a client, or a member, right? And I have tried to make it where we've got so many touch points where you can have those 7 touch points as quick and easy, as simple as possible, without having to get on phone calls or do whatever. So before you even like get on there, because you've already got those 7 touch points quite easily.
That makes sense. So I do want to talk about one more thing. Like you talk a lot about billboard method and getting in front of people, SEO, being seen, getting those direct bookings, right? So there's a second part to that, right? And it's the retargeting them after you've gotten that direct booking. Any tips for our listeners on what they should do or systems they should have set up that you recommend that they can put, implement into their business? So after they stay and direct book with you, you don't just lose that lead forever. How are you getting them
Yeah.
essentially to come back?
So this is the key to growth. And I don't know what the people listening, what their aspirations and goals are for their business, but every business, doesn't matter whether this is in your blueprint or not, should be looking to exit at some point in the future. And even if you're not going to sell it, a business that is clockworked, a business that is buyable is a very good business, right? And if you go and look at some of the big exits that have happened recently, I'm thinking of Isaac French with Live Oak Lake. So got a bit of land in Texas, put on these cool little glamping pods, built a brand around it, and ended up exiting for $8 million. So one of the reasons why he was able to exit for such a large amount of money was because he had such a high proportion of direct bookings. But not only that, he had multiple revenue streams, right? And for anybody who is looking to sell their business, if they are 100% reliant on one platform bringing in all of their revenue, any sensible investor will look at your business and go, nah, because they know just one little Thanos click. For those that aren't Marvel fans, that's like click your fingers and all of your revenue disappears. Any investor would be scared of that. Where Isaac, they looked at his business and they saw obviously a very healthy proportion of bookings coming from travel parties, which is fat sound, but a large proportion was coming from multiple revenue streams that he was doing. And the reason why I tell you that story, the reason why I tell you that is that the only way you are going to get there is by building a database, right? And particularly with AI and how AI is playing even more of an important role in our lives now, and it will be even double that in 2026 and beyond. The ways that any small business can start to get ahead of this is by building a database now. And when I say database, I don't just mean first name and email. I'm talking about getting first name, last name, date they checked in, date they checked out, email addresses, not just for one person, but for the whole party. And there's tools available for that. Stay5 being one. I think that's quite very well known around the industry now. But when a guest leaves, and say they've booked direct, and I've managed to get the email first name, last name, one of the biggest mistakes that I see so many people make. And I was chatting to somebody last month, and they were sitting on an email database of 7,000 people, and he had never emailed them once. And I was like, dude, you got to realize how much revenue that you are sat on here. And the cool thing about email is that it's got a 4,200% return of investment, right? So it is unbelievable.
Costs you nothing.
Yeah, and it costs absolutely nothing, and yet it is so powerful. And the reason why email is so powerful is that when you put a post out on Facebook, the stats are like 0.1% of the people who follow you will see that post. It's ridiculous, right? Because obviously Facebook now, and technically Instagram, wants you to be a pay-to-pay platform. Like LinkedIn, again, super noisy. TikTok, super noisy. All of these platforms are so noisy. So when you put that post out, right, even if for some bizarre miracle, I would see your post, we're in the TikTok genification now where I've got an attention span of less than 8 seconds. I'm just swipe, scroll. So it's very noisy, right? When you've got your listing on Airbnb, Booking.com, Vrbo, even if I'm divine miracle, somebody lands on my listing, Airbnb, Booking.com, and Vrbo are going, oh, you like that? Check this out. Check that out, right? It's super noisy. But with an email, when I open your email, it's a one-on-one communication, right? There's no noise, right? And as long as you've crafted a good email, good words, good copy, then there's no excuse how they can't go from reading to being a looker to being a booker. And out of everything that we did in terms of marketing, the funnel that I spoke about, it was to get you from here and to get you all the way down the funnel. A big portion of that is getting on the email. So email drives so much revenue, and people complain saying email's dead, email's dead. We did millions in revenue through email, massively. And, you can do all these fancy new DM automations in social media. You can get SMSs and WhatsApps and all of that. But email will, and always will be the best way of marketing. And so it comes back to your question is you got to build that database first.
I'm a huge proponent of email, and I don't think people understand is that it may take you 5 minutes to write an email. I mean, usually if I'm feeling good, I'll just write a bunch of emails and then I'll draft them out later. But it's like, okay, well, I might send an email to you, Mark, and you might not open it this time. And I might be like, oh, email doesn't work. But I send the next email and you happen to read my subject and you're like, oh, shit, you open it up. Next thing you know, like, oh, this is good. And then you're clicking. And people don't understand, like, it revitalizes people into opening their email sometimes. And if they didn't unsubscribe, you didn't lose. Like, that's pretty much the way I look at it.
100%.
You know, so
100%. I mean, I send an email every single day. An email goes out every single day.
I got one today.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single day an email goes out. And I do so because, again, I have that infotainment. So people make the mistake with email where they think they need images and they need flashing colors. The problem with that is that it makes it look like a magazine. It makes it look like an ad. And plus as well, if you want a surefire way of going into the junk folder of an email sender, put images in your emails. Trust me, right? What you want to do is you want to craft it in plain text, right? And make it look like I've handwritten that email to you. We send emails out to tens of thousands of people every single day, but every single email looks like I have taken time out to personally write it to Matt, right? And yeah, I know that it's going to have about a 20% open rate, and I know we're going to have a 1% click rate. Well, that's fine because we're there and we'll always be there and we'll always be in your inbox. If you go in your inbox and type in Mark Simpson, there's going to be a shit ton of emails to go back on. And again, it's the same sort of theory. It's the jab, 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 right hook. 80% of those emails will be educational, infotainable, sending you to like a podcast, sending you to a YouTube video. And every now and again, there'll be the right hook coming. And we do that. And it's just been, ingrained into me. And I know what people are thinking, right? I don't know how to do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't write an email. I couldn't sit down for 5 minutes to write an email. This is where the evolvement of, Chat GPT, AI has been like phenomenal. Now, nobody's got an excuse now not to write an email with the evolvement and like evolution of these platforms.
And that's what we want to go into. So since we're getting short on time, but I want to talk about how you think that AI is going to revolutionize the industry. Also, I want you to explain to people who have content how you can make a robot, because I've seen you do that. I really think that you should I told Bill that he needs to get with you and do his own little robot of his content. Maybe you can pitch him on a setup fee.
Yeah,
I'll take the affiliate commission. I learned that from Bill. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, hey Bill, if you're listening, anytime, reach out because the power of it. So how, first and foremost, is AI going to disrupt our industry? Well, what if I tell you that AI will kill the OTAs? What would you say to that?
I would be surprised.
Pretty daring to say that. And I've been saying that now for a year and a half. And the reason being is we are getting to a point where this year, OpenAI are going to announce that they have built, or if I don't call it AGI, which is artificial genius intelligence, or whatever it's called, it's like that is like the ultimate level of where AI needs to be able to perform better than like PhD level human. And when we get to AGI, whether they call it that or whether they call it a version of, that means that AI agents are going to become more commonly used in the general day-to-day. If you have a look at Apple, for example, their latest models and their latest iOS has got Apple Intelligent built into it. Yes, it's crap. It's awful. But this is the first version of this. If you look at Amazon, they recently invested a ton of money into Anthropic, which builds cloud. And the Alexas are going to get reprogrammed and regenerated with cloud and Anthropic powering it. So at the moment, if you talk to Siri, if you talk to Alexa, it's very basic. It's like, remind me to put eggs on my shopping list, set me a timer. Very basic. Very soon, and obviously Google's doing Google stuff with Gemini, you'll be able to open up your phone and you'll be able to go, hey, Siri, I'm going to New York. I'm going to be staying by Times Square. You need to find me a place. It's got to sleep me, the wife, and the kids. You know what I like. This is my budget. Off you go. Siri's going to go. Now, Siri doesn't have any brand allegiance to Airbnb. It doesn't walk around saying, I'm staying in an Airbnb. It's a robot, right? It's a bit of code. All it cares about is, where can I find the best price? Where can I find the best place to go and do this booking, right? And it will just find the best top result, right? And one of those results will be a direct booking website. And if not, it will be probably Google vacation rentals, or it will be whatever. This is why Google are going all in on vacation rentals. And it's why they're doing all these things, is to get involved and ready for this. That's the first thing. That's my big prediction, right? And there's some arguments to say that the AI will favor those that are going to potentially give it more money. That is an argument. But I firmly believe that you could potentially program it to do whatever you want it to do, right? And I think it's going to bypass all those OTAs. So secondly, how can you tap into it a bit more? And how can you use it to create a content bot for you? Well, if you've never opened it or touched it, the simplest one to use, the most commonly one used, is OpenAI. It's free. Their latest version is free. You can do voice to text. You can do voice to voice. You can do all the cool things that you can do. If you go down the rabbit hole enough, you'll do what I did, and I've completed and created a total clone of myself. So I've got a video clone, a voice clone. You go to boostly.co.uk/bot, BOT. Boostly is boostly.co.uk/bot. You can video call me right now. And it is trained and programmed on everything Boostly. So it's got all of the books in there. It automatically loads every single podcast in, YouTube video in, every blog we've ever done. Because this is the key component with AI, is it has to be fed data, right? This is why creating all this content will come back and reward me in bucketfuls, is because this bot now is trained on everything. Us, we've just created AI assistants within our Boostly CRM. So we use Go High Level, just like what anybody who says they've got a CRM in our industry, it's Go High Level. We've got a white labeled version of it, and we've got access to AI bots, AI assistants, and how our owners can create their own bots for their properties and for their co-host company. And people are creating it. And the cool thing is that we just load in our direct booking websites, and it trains the bots within minutes. They add in a touch day digital guidebook, and these bots are like sales reps. It's awesome. I love seeing them in action on people's websites and stuff. It's never been easier to be a programmer, to be a coder. I haven't got a clue about coding programming. The ironic thing is, we do website design. I can't build websites. But now, for the first time with AI, anybody can do it, and they can do it within minutes. And if a dum-dum like me can do it, anyone can do it. And so, like, my mission is just to help so many people just sort of break down this fourth wall of it, shake off any stigma that's around it, and say, listen, get on board of it. Because if you get on board of it now, you're ahead of 99% of everybody in your area.
I saw Austin's brain explode for a second there.
Well, my question really, this is interesting stuff. My question is like, so for the bot that you created, it's essentially a replica of you. How do you utilize that specifically in your business? You're saying, is that person like essentially a sales rep for Boostly, or what does it do?
Yeah, so that bot for Boostly, so the one that I created. So you can imagine now the amount of people that are in my inbox asking me questions about how do I get my avatar? How do I do a social media post? How do I get on Google Vacation Rentals? I just send them a link to the bot, say, go chat to it, right? And so that's how I'm utilizing it. It basically saves me a lot of time. But also as well, when people chat to it to a certain amount of times, I think if you chat to it 4 times, it'll ask you for an email address to continue the conversation. So they plug in the email, and then they become a lead, because that then gets synced into the CRM, and it goes and does its work. So that is what it does. Also as well, which is pretty cool, is for our existing customers, we get a lot of people going, hey, I've just watched this video on the training course on how to stage a photography or whatever. Again, it's trained on that. So we just send people to there. So our support team saves a ton of time. So that is basically what it's doing. It's doing it on multiple folds.
So you essentially took and this is where I'm going with this. So you essentially took all your data, all your videos, all your voice recordings, everything in your books, everything that you possibly have, and you fed it to this bot. So basically, this bot is your virtual assistant for free.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's like $230 a month for the.
Well, no, it's cheaper than that. Like I use this company and it was under $80 a month to have, and that's like that is a very high level. Like you can do a lot of this like with Eleven's Lab. So Eleven's Lab is another leading voice. So I created a podcast on the sly, and I called it the STR Daily Podcast, powered by Boostly, and AI creates the transcript, AI creates the audio, and AI posts it to Spotify, etc. We've done 164 episodes, and I don't do anything. I spent me about a couple of minutes to program it, to set it all up, and now it just 164 episodes, 10,000 downloads, and it just scrapes the data from Skift, Focuswire, the big like publications in our industry to get 2 big news articles, feeds it into the transcript. 11 Labs turns it into a voice. And it's, you know, again, it's another revenue generator for Boostly. This is a side project from the Boostly project. And again, like I don't do anything on this. Not my voice are out.
God, that's insane.
See,
that's why I'm getting there with people is that like you could essentially train your own virtual assistant for your after hours if you have the right data or enough data about the property and about, you know, answering those questions to where it costs you nothing. Right. So,
and the cool thing is that there are some really cool companies that are creating this service that sync in and work with your PMS. Now, 2026, 2027, am I saying that Guesty haven't created their own in-house version? Hostaway haven't created their in-house version. They've got a shit ton of money. They've just raised a lot of money. So yeah, I assume that they will have, but for the short term, there's some really cool AI companies out there that are providing that service that will sit in your PMS, that will sit in your messaging app. So it will answer instantly for you. And 80% of the time, the communication is spot on. When you first start using it, some of the answers get a little bit crazy, but over time, when you train it, it gets better and better and better and better. And I've seen that for so many Boostly members and people around the world. There's like Host AI, there's Get Bestie, Hello Host Buddy, Hello Hosty. There's a number of them, but there's also a number of PMSs like Journey, Zevu, Boom, who are creating their own in-house versions as well, and Hospitable as well.
Yeah, Hospitable's going that direction too.
Yeah, massively.
Which I was surprised.
They're doing a lot of work on that front.
Yeah, they've been doing AI for a while too. So
yeah,
that's crazy. Well, I mean, I could talk to you all day, but I know it's late over there. So
yeah, it's getting late. 9:30 it's getting to. And as you can see from these tired eyes, I've got 4 kids. The 2-year-old was awake very early this morning. So yeah, I'm gonna get some sleep before the 2-year-old wakes us up tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Hey, so thanks so much for coming on. Just tell everybody where they could find you. Just DM me any kind of links or anything you want me to put in the show notes, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, man. I mean, Boostly UK on Instagram. And if you want to go chat to the bot, go to boostly.co.uk/bot.
It's fun.
Nice, man.
All right. Well, thanks, Mark.
Appreciate it.
Austin, say it, Austin.
Peace.
The Co-Host Bros Podcast.